morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not quite awake this morning. I think a few of us are in that boat. My inspiration today comes from a book I've been reading called The Four Winds. And sometimes we think we're struggling now, and we are. I'm not saying we're not. But this book takes place during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. And they survived that. So I just want to read a few quotes from this book she had in the beginning of different years. To damage the earth is to damage your children. Things to think about. Wendell Berry. This was from 1934, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I see 1/3 of a nation ill-housed, ill-clad, ill-nourished. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. And my third one is from César Chavez, 1935. We draw our strength from the very despair in which we have been forced to live. We shall endure. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Everyone, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. We have a very special meeting this morning. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day that will tell you all about it, Carol Ann Halstead. Welcome, Carol. Good morning.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Yes, that's okay.
Zach is going to do.
Oh, he is, okay. And then I can do, so we'll have two speeches and, yeah, okay. First of all, let me read who is here and on Zoom. Let's see. Who is Logan? Logan? What does that say? Okay. What? Oh. Okay.
Oh, he went ahead to a paper. He's here. I don't see it. We'll cross him up.
Okay. Okay. I'm thinking, who's this? Okay. Okay. We have Dave Licata, Mike Licata, Chris Kelly, Beth Banks, Mary Cavanaro, Steve Smith, Jim Sacco, Larry McKenzie, Bridget Newton, Kate Orr, Maggie Craig, Zach Finney, and Kate Orr. And on Zoom, we have Margot Bittner, Marshall Song, David Jones, and Tracy Farrell. And I think that's all that's on Zoom. Okay. The one opening is for a quiz master. Could I have a quiz, Maggie? Thank you. And we're also, Larry McKenzie has been notified there will just be two speeches today, so there will be more people called on to participate in table topics. My theme today is drive-in theaters. And a drive-in theater or a drive-in cinema is a form of cinematic structure consisting of a large outdoor movie screen, projection booth, concession stand, large parking lot area for the autos. Sound is provided by speakers on the screen at first. Then they went to speakers hung from the window of the car and connected to a pole with a wire. Then came micro broadcasting, which is a preferred method. And that is where the soundtrack is coming from a speaker that you hook to your car window. And the sound can be heard in stereo with a higher quality and higher fidelity. The disadvantage of the speakers, as many of us of a certain age did use them, is that occasionally someone would drive away with the speaker and sometimes even got the pole out of the ground. So let's see. Right now, I will call our roll holders to describe their job today. Let's see. Kate, were you continuing with the word master?
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is the only role that I actually have on the schedule. I appreciate Zach for being voluntold to do his icebreaker today. Guess what? We're having an impromptu icebreaker, folks. So he will do a fantastic job. There was some miscommunication about that, but he'll be our first speaker. And then Carol is incorporating a speech within her performance as Toastmaster of the day today. Our word aligning with the theme is escapade. Escapade is an act or incident involving some adventure, daring, excitement, and at the drive-in theaters, we can often find or watch escapades if we're not participating in them ourselves. Thank you, everybody, and I will step away and take that role with me so you have less to mess around with here. Thank you, everyone. Marshall, I'm also copying you and everybody. This is something he saw at other clubs. When you hear the word of the day, please do the snaps. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Next will be our master, Margot Bittner. Describe your role.
Good morning. This morning I will be listening for those little glitches that make our speeches inelegant. So I'll be listening for ahs, ums, and I would rather not hear some so's, but I know I use them myself. So I will report back at the end of the meeting when asked to do so. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Now, we have grammarian Sam.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, sayings, or thoughts, and I will give a report when called upon during the meeting. Thank you.
Steve Smith has a quote for us.
I thought finding a quote for drive-ins would be easy. I was wrong. But I did find this that I found interesting. It's about the movies. I would just like to say that I could share what served me, which was trying to find the best material that I could possibly find and make it better. When other celebrities and sports stars or people that are successful in other areas cross over into movies, they're always encouraged to bring that same tenacity and that same relentless drive that you had to make it. You have to apply that to acting. And that was said by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
And online we have Tracy Farrell. Do you have a jest for us?
I do. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. And I just have to explain that this morning's jests are about Toastmasters and the breakfast toast. Forewarning, if you ever, as a Toastmaster, have to take the escapade into having to explain your jokes, you know that these are really bad jokes. So number one, why did the Toastmaster become a baker? Because they wanted to create their speeches that rose to perfection. Pretty bad, I know. Number two, how did the Toastmaster become a master of persuasion? They knew how to butter up the audience. And before you throw me out, number three, what did the Toastmaster say to burnt toast? You may be toast, but you're still a winner in my book. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Now, Mary is our timer today.
Table topics are 1 minute at yellow, green, 1:30 at yellow, and 2 minutes at red. But for speeches, 4 minutes at green, yellow at 5, and red at 6. And then everybody else 5 to 7. Yeah.
And Maggie will be our quiz master today.
I'll forego the stool and I'll go up on my tippy toes. Good morning. So I'll be the quiz master today. I'm going to be listening to what you say and try to come up with some amazing questions. It will be a true escapade. And I will come back at the end of the meeting and see what you remember.
Some history of the drive-in theater. The first theater was called Theater de Guadalupe in Las Cruces, New Mexico. This was in 1915. And the first movie shown was called Bags of Gold. This theater was renamed to the Deluxe, but it did close the next year. In 1921, the Comanche Theater in Texas showed some silent films. And the drive-in theater was patented in Camden, New Jersey in 1933 by a chemical company magnate, Richard Hollingshead Jr. And the slogan for the drive-in theater was, "The whole family is welcome, regardless of how noisy the children are." And the first movie shown there was called Wives Beware. Then one opened in 34, had one open in Oakfield, Pennsylvania, and Galveston, and in LA. In 36, there was one in Massachusetts. In 37, we had 3 new ones, Ohio, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. 3839 brought 12 more. But there were sound issues because the sound was coming from the screen area and people in the back kind of got a sound delay. And in 1944, RCA developed the speakers that they put in the car. And it was a family friendly venue, and they a lot of times they would even put playgrounds in for the children to play before it got dark and the movie came on. And actually there was a peak in the 40s through the 60s because there was an increase in car ownership, and there were 155 drive-ins in 1947, and there were over 4,000 by 1951. Right now, I'm going to call on Larry McKenzie, and he will be calling on members to participate in table topics. And he has been alerted that since we'll just have 2 speeches today, he can call on more than 3.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol. This morning, our topic was drive-in theaters. It was kind of an interesting thing for me, and we had a discussion about it, I think, on Tuesday night also. And years ago, there were drive-ins everywhere. And as a child, I never really attended any drive-ins with my parents, only child and later in life. But when I met my wife, that was our theater of choice, the drive-in. Many different things. When our kids were born, we used to go every week, every other week. And so we had some great experiences at drive-ins with the kids, that is. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask David Jones. I know David is from a different state even, but David, do they have drive-in movies down there? Obviously they do. And if they do, what was the most memorable movie you ever saw at a drive-in? David Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, not manager. And good morning, fellow Toastmasters. We do have drive-in theaters down here in North Carolina. I've seen a few, but in my whole life, I have never been to a drive-in theater to watch a movie. It's just something I've seen on other movies. Like I remember in Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, there's a scene at the drive-in theater, but I've never been to one. It looks like there's quite a bit of escapades that can go on there at night with the younger crowd, but they look interesting. I'm not sure. I'm very hot or cold. That's what I'm thinking. Do I have to have my heater on the whole time or put on my air conditioner the whole time? Therefore, the car is running and there's pollution going everywhere. So that's just something that never really appealed to me to do now that I'm kind of thinking through it. But I think they have their place. I think it would be good family fun. But like you, Larry, I'm an only child, so it was just me on my own and sitting in my house. I have my own movies going on in my head continuously. Therefore, I wouldn't need to go out to a movie theater. But thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for sharing your escapades and not ever. That's an anomaly. Someone who has not been to a drive-in. Are there any other ones who have not been there? We'll find out. What I'm going to do now is ask Mr. Len Thornton. I know that he's busy over there, and he would love to come up and share some of his thoughts with us. And I have a perfect question for you, Len. Now, I know in Lockport we have the Lockport Drive-In Theater. You can actually go there even when it's snowing almost to watch them. You know, you put a little heat on in the car. But a few years ago, they built this brand new snack bar, which is huge. So, Len, my question for you is describe the ultimate drive-in snack experience.
Thank you, Larry. Yes, we are indeed blessed to have a drive-in theater so close to us in Lockport. We used to have 2 nearby, the Sunset Drive-In over toward Medina. It was nice. I understand that's been closed for a number of years, though. What really hurt the last remaining vestiges of this art form here, this venue, was the requirement to go digital. They had to have digital projectors. I think that was probably about 10 years ago. And that was quite an expense for a lot of these little mom and pop drive-ins to incur. Some just folded and took their losses there. But we're lucky. We had some local people that invested in that one. It was sold about 3 years ago to, I think, Dipson Theaters, who also runs the North Park Theater, and I believe the ones at Eastern Hills Mall, the screening room and all that. So it's nice to know there's still a drive-in theater, and there's venues to see small independent films in Western New York. I think that's a gift. I'm not answering your question at all, Larry. The last, the let, the last, the last movie I saw at the drive-in, I believe, was a Tom Cruise latest one. There, my girlfriend wanted to see it. Not exactly my genre, but the experience is there. And having a nice concession stand is great, reduces the lines. But don't we all sneak in our own candy and drinks? Because that's the beauty of a drive-in. You can do that and save money. It is quite an escapade experiencing a film in the outdoors like that. And I've enjoyed it over the years. Larry.
Thank you very much, Len. Speaking of escapades at the drive-in, I can remember years ago when you'd sneak people into the drive-in. We won't say how, but we used to own a van, and you could actually hide people in the back of the van, cover them with a blanket until you get in. But that's a different story, but we won't get into right now. But what I'm going to ask is Jim Sacco. I know that you didn't have a speaking role this week, so we're going to give you one. So, Jim, come on down, and I have a question for you. If you were to open your own themed drive-in movie, what would it be?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My own theme movie for a drive-in. It would probably be Jaws. I would say that because although I did not see that at the drive-in, I saw it at the Summit Park Mall Cinema. It's just the effect of Jaws, just the effect of a movie would have on people when you go to see the movie. Because I can remember Jaws when a shark came out of the water, it seemed like our seats moved back about 5 feet when we do that. You get that effect from a drive-in. You don't get that effect from a television station. Watching it on TV, whether it's even these flat screen TVs we have now. You're in your living room and you don't feel that effect. But if you're at a drive-in and you have a theme, you have to have a theme movie. And that movie it had its effects back in the 70s. It was quite the escapade watching that movie. And I could see it being an effective movie that you would want to watch right now. But there are a lot of things with drive-ins. I've had many experiences with drive-ins in the past, and that's something that I could really enjoy. And having my own drive-in, I think it would be a fantastic thing to do. Thank you, Tabletop Master. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Chris Kelly. Chris, I see you sitting in the back of the room over there. Chris, welcome to Table Topics. We have a question for you. If you were going to invent the perfect snack to take with you to the drive-in movie, what would that be?
Thank you. The perfect snack to take with me to a movie. There's many snacks that are already out there, so that's a hard one, Larry. Popcorn, nachos, hot dogs. These are foods that everyone enjoys. I like food. But for drive-in, you want something that's not too sloppy, too messy, but most things are. You get that bowl of nachos in your car, you go to eat it, you're watching the giant escapade up on the screen. Next thing you know, you have a drool of cheese down your front. So maybe that's not the best option. Hot dogs, chili dogs, same. They drip on you. You can go with sweets. You have your popcorn. You have cheese. You have with your popcorn. I'd say popcorn because that, is not as sloppy, not as messy, and you have different flavors: butter, caramel, popcorn. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chris. All right, I think we do have time for one more. So what we're going to do right now is ask, even though I know that she has a job, but it was taken away from her. Bridget, if you would come up and join us this morning. Now, Bridget, your question is this. Many people have many different escapades at the drive-in. One of the ones that I remember, alcohol may have been involved, but I fell asleep. And, the movies were over and you get the little knock on the window. And it wasn't the police officer when you're off on some side street or something. It was actually at the movies are over. So what I'd like to ask is if you've went to the drive-in, what was your most memorable experience that you could share with us at a drive-in?
Thank you very much. I'm so delighted that you added that little bit about what I could share because what came to mind at first was not something to share. I fell asleep. So an escapade. I remember we had a friend who had a pickup truck and we were all going to the movies. And you know how the trucks have the wheel wells on the inside? Well, I remember kind of curling around the wheel well with a blanket over me, and then a couple people sat on the wheel well, also AKA me, so that we could get extra people into the movies. So I do remember that. So we took maybe 2 or 4 extra people to the drive-in. I remember we opened up the back and we all sat on the back and we watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hate that movie. It scared me terribly. Of course, the fella I was with probably was really glad because I'm hanging on to him for dear life as the movie's going on. But that was such a fun thing, just sneaking in, regardless of the movie we saw or the rest of the time there. That was just like, yes, we made it. We got in for free. So that was my biggest escapade. Thank you very much.
That was quite an experience. I can remember that. You had to be either in or on the vehicle and you could get in. Madam Timer, may we have a timer's report?
Everybody qualified. David Jones, 108. Len, 149. Jim, 113. Chris, 123. And Bridget, 128.
Thank you. Oh, no, I was wondering what your word master when we have a word report.
All of them qualified. Great job. Bridget used it twice. If there was a competition, she won the competition. Darcy was unable to come today. She was ill, so we'll bring the balance around.
All right. So what we can do right now is we can vote for either Len, David, Bridget, Jim, or Chris. And we made Mark work today over there on the tech end. So we thank you for that, Mark. I'm going to turn the meeting right now back over to our Toastmaster of the day. Please welcome back Carol. Little better than that. Come on, wake up. It's 7:30.
As I had mentioned, the drive-in theaters peaked in 40s and through the 60s because there was an increase in the car ownership. And they were cheaper to build than an indoor theater. And you could bring your children. A lot of times they were brought in their pajamas. You didn't need a babysitter. And some drive-in theaters actually featured bottle warmers and diaper dispensers. And other things that would bring people were the offer of prizes, bargain nights, petting zoos, and one place in Coprague, not sure how to pronounce it, a place in New York State. They had a restaurant on a rooftop where you could watch the movie from. And the largest drive-in was in Lynn, Massachusetts. There was 5,000 cars. And now we'll proceed to the speaking portion. And the first speaker will be Zach Finney, who is evaluated by Mike Licata.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Zach is giving us his icebreaker this morning. The icebreaker, the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Now, it's a little bit impromptu, so we thank him for stepping up this morning. And I reminded Zach, but I do also want to remind our members this morning that as tradition with AM Lockport, Madam Timer, the time is 4 to 6 minutes, but we do not hold him to his time for his icebreaker speech this morning. Zach joins us as a new member. We're very excited for him to join the club as soon as we can get everything set up through Toastmasters and through our own website. And his speech title, the unoriginal idea, speech title will be Icebreaker. Zach Finney, Icebreaker.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zach, and this was quite the escapade to start the day on a Thursday. So I have thought a little bit about how I wanted to navigate my icebreaker. So it's not entirely impromptu, but it is an, I would say, extemporaneous escapade, to say the least. So yes, my name is Zach Finney. I was born here in Lockport, New York. I am 32 years old, and I'm a 32-year-old young man, and I'm sticking to that. And although I will say the hair on my head is turning gray at a very rapid rate, much more quickly than I thought it would. And I suppose that comes with the job of also being a father and a husband. And so at home, I have 3 children. They are 4 years old, 3 years old, and a 1-year-old, a girl, a boy, and a girl. And we're just getting ready to go on a Disney trip here starting this weekend, and we're going for a week. So we're going to have a very fun time. So more about myself. I became a personal trainer in 2014. And I think that's kind of where the journey of who I am begins, because that was some of the things that I were most passionate about at the time. And so as a personal trainer, I worked at different gyms, World Gym in Niagara Falls, a handful of other gyms in Niagara Falls, and then ultimately I ended up here at the local YMCA. So I was a personal trainer right here upstairs. In 2016, I decided to go back to school to study nutrition. I kind of understood that physical exercise is just one piece of this puzzle and kind of one of the more superficial elements of, I guess, what it means to live a good life and to be healthy. So I wanted to go a layer deeper and study nutrition. So I became a clinical dietitian, which is a bachelor degree at Buffalo State College. and completed that and remained a personal trainer for a while before actually becoming a clinical nutritionist at Buffalo General Hospital. That's where I currently work and am practicing as in that clinical space. So that brings me to today. A father, a husband, a clinical dietitian, and now I guess being passionate about personal growth, personal development overall brought me to Toastmasters. So I feel like I kind of mastered the physical element of moving my body. I learned about the inner workings of biochemistry and metabolism, but still didn't feel comfortable with myself and wanted to figure out what that means to just be able to be myself fully. And so terrified of public speaking, terrified to express myself, kind of putting myself in a box in a lot of ways and just being a shy person and not putting myself out there in a lot of ways. Which brings me here where now I'm giving an extemporaneous speech. Who would have thought? And really and truly, I think one of the goals that I do have for this Toastmasters journey and escapade is to not have to have a speech prepared, to not have to have something that I'm reading off of a page. I want to be able to just speak freely, take thoughts from wherever they come from and organize them in a way that makes sense. And so that's who I am, and that's my icebreaker. Thank you.
Speaker number 2 will be me, and I'm going to be evaluated by Dave Licata.
I was at the drive-in once with this really zaptic blonde lady girlfriend. She was really clever. I said, "Do you want to get in the back seat?" She said, "No, I want to stay up front with you." Anyways, this is presentation mastery, and we're going to do a little encouragement and evaluation of the way she is introducing the speakers today. So this is me now, or I gotta watch you some more?
No, you will be.
This is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What, Mike? All right, but wouldn't I do that later when she's done?
Yes, I am.
5 to 7. Fine. You forgot to mention the Lockport Drive-In at the foot of Gasport Hill there. That was another beauty. And Maggie and her husband are going to open that one in Medina, but they're only going to show movies they made.
Following the theme of drive-in movie, fellow Toastmasters, I am going to tell you about our transit drive-in. We're so privileged to have one right here in town, practically. The transit drive-in has 5 screens. I wasn't sure about that the other day when my grandson mentioned it, and I'm thinking, let me see. And so the last time I drove by, without being too distracted, I said, oh, yeah, there are 5, because I remembered the 4 outer ones, and I forgot, oh, yeah, the main one, too. And they often show double features. They have mini golf called Greens Under the Screen. And They show first run movies and they also show classics. They have Retro Tuesday showing older movies. And the first time I went to the transit drive-in, it was actually before I lived in Lockport. And I remember the movie I saw was Easy Rider. There are many rules at drive-ins that some people follow, some people try to get around. There's you have to, apparently I haven't been in a long time, but apparently you have to put your box office sheet you get in the on the dashboard so it can be seen. And you have to keep your admission ticket because at any time somebody could ask you, do you have a ticket? And there's no switching screens. And I've heard of people doing that. And you have to cooperate with the lot attendant. And vans may be given designated spots because, of course, they're higher. And you can only use one spot. And the speed limit is 10 miles an hour. And there's also no foul language allowed. You can't use laser pointers. You can't cook, so no tailgating. And you can't turn on your headlights or even the indoor lights in the car to distract. And you can't be loud. So many rules that to follow. I remember when I was young, growing up in the Falls, I was taken to the drive-in. I remember, I think I had my PJs on sometimes when my parents took me. And at that time, we had two drive-ins in the Falls. One was called the Auto View, and one was called the Starlight Drive-In. I can't remember too many of the movies I actually saw. However, I do remember when we took our oldest daughter, Katie, to the drive-in, probably one of the first times, and we saw Bambi. Well, and things went okay until all of a sudden she's looking at me saying, "Where's the mother? What happened to the mother?" So I know a few of the another couple rules are you can't re-enter once you leave, and I didn't realize no smoking, not even in the car, and you're supposed to walk to the concession stand, not drive over to it, which I wouldn't think people would do that. And you can't you can't use the playground after dark. And as Len had mentioned, I believe, you the one of the other reasons why drive-ins had problems is because they needed that digital projection, and of course that was too expensive. And also, I just wanted to mention that one, maybe this isn't the correct word, but one positive thing about COVID is that drive-ins became popular when we had to social distance. But and I do again want to mention that we are very privileged, since there aren't many drive-ins around, that we have our wonderful transit drive-in. And now I will say to myself, Madam Toastmaster. Well, and this, and again, that part was the, I kind of incorporated impromptu speech as part of my drive-in experience. Okay, now we will have our evaluators. First, Mike Licata. Oh, timers for the two of us.
Zach, 335. And Carolyn, 617. You did good.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Zach. Zach, I want to give you a lot of credit for willing to do your icebreaker. I know we've had, when new members come into the club, our previous VP of Educations have always tried to figure out when the best time to give an icebreaker is for newer members, for a number of different reasons. Either some newer members want to get it out of the way. Some new members would rather wait and just listen and observe. And the way that you've attacked joining the club since you started coming to meetings, I have to give you a lot of credit for it. And that enthusiasm showed in your speech this morning. You look, for somebody that's new to the club, you look very comfortable behind the lectern, behind the microphone, with the camera, with everything going on. And I think part of that is, in your profession, when you have to deal with people every day and you're used to talking face to face with people, that definitely comes through with your speeches. I have to give you a lot of credit for wanting to do more off the cuff, do more impromptu speaking, and when it comes to building speeches. I would caution that I don't expect, most of us don't actually like physically write a speech when it comes to preparing our speeches. I would recommend using like bullet points or a guideline or an outline for your speech. It doesn't even have to be that long. You can just have like 3 or 4 things that you really want to get across in your speeches going forward when it comes to like building structured speeches, building on whatever topics you have. I want to thank you for giving a speech this morning. You gave us a little bit of information, which is important because it helps us as members look forward to your future speeches. You have a lot of many great ideas, and I'm sure one of those is going to come out of your trip to Disney. So good luck and have fun with that. And with that, I will turn it over to our Toastmaster.
And now I have the privilege of introducing Dave Licata, who will be evaluating the Toastmaster, me.
You did your homework. You picked a topic that we've all are familiar with. Some of us like the drive-in. Some of us like movies too much to ever go to a drive-in, because for my attitude is you really can't enjoy a movie at a drive-in. That's it, but that's just my opinion. But you talked about the local jewel, which was great, because throughout all this discussion about how things changed entertainment wise, many different articles and newspapers and magazines have done articles and mentioned the transit's drive-in capacity to survive as other drive-ins folded up. And mentioning COVID is important, and feel free to check me out on this, but I'm only 85% sure. I think during the height of COVID, Lockport High graduated their seniors out of the drive-in to maintain the social distancing. Where I want you to improve, because, you know, I sat there and I said, hey, this lady is a retired nurse, and she can't embellish when you're a nurse, and you can't stretch the truth when you're a nurse. You got to play it close to the vest. But when you're doing a drive-in speech at Toastmasters, you can jazz it up a little. So if I did this speech, it would go like this. My Niagara Falls boyfriend spirited me out of Niagara Falls and took me to Lockport. Oh my God, I said, where's Lockport? He said, trust me. And then you could have gone on and borrowed from the Everly brothers, and you could have told how you fell asleep, and thank God you were in Lockport because it didn't get out that you were there all night, you know, which would have been more fun. But that's mine. But we appreciate the work you did this morning, and we appreciate the people that rose to the bait and took jobs. But and the nice thing about your theme is next time I give a speech, there's a long history of drive-in stories that are right here on Transit and right here on Route 31 in Lockport, and it does stretch out to Medina. My Uncle Larry used to own the Orleans Drive-In in Albion. Margot would send me down there to sell wine, and people would chat with me. I said, well, my uncle used to own the local drive-in. And they said, oh, we went there a lot. And then I would say, well, the big question is, did you get your start there? Sorry. Madam Toastmaster.
Yeah, timers report for evaluators, Mary.
Mike Licata, 220. David Licata, you are close, 259. You did.
And I wanted to remind everyone when they're doing their vote, there is also a spot on the paper where you can write notes to the speaker, give some feedback. Just wanted to complete a little about the drive-ins. Demise was the fact that there's home entertainment, the color TV, cable, VCR, movie rentals, and even some of the drive-ins started showing some R-rated or X-rated movies late at night to try to draw a little more audience. But there was less than 200 drive-ins in the late 80s. And so I have to agree with Dave to a point that it's a lot of times it's very difficult to see a movie real well. If it rains, they still continue it. Sometimes I've found that movies that are kind of dark aren't, you can't see them as well. And I still feel the excitement in an indoor theater. And also one of the other names for a drive-in in our time was the Passion Pit. see. I think maybe we can start with some reports. Kador, how did our word do? Sir, oh yes, certainly. There's my Margot.
Do you want to do the general evaluator report first?
Oh, okay. Marshall, would you be able to give the your general evaluator report, please?
Okay. I want to ask my team first about my team. Oh, yeah. So someone is making escapade on my VPN again. I hope I will not drop in line. First, I want to ask our quizmaster, or the last quizmaster, please. Darcy, could you please to ask a quiz?
Good morning, Marshall. Very nice to see you this morning. So, should I tell you about my very first time going to the drive-in first? I'll tell you. I think we have time. So I was, my father had just died in February, and we moved to St. Catharines, Ontario, from way up in northern Ontario. And my mother had 6 kids and no husband. So in order to go anywhere, the drive-in was the perfect answer. And there was an all-night drive-in, and the older kids were 10 years older than me, and I was four and a half, almost 5. They wanted to go to the drive-in, the all-night drive-in. You guys remember that? You go and you as many people as you could fit in the car, and you go all night. It was like $12 a car, or 10. Well, in those days, probably like $3 a car. Yeah, I'm old. So anyway, the drive-in was, well, first of all, put in our pajamas. Maggie and Gail, my baby sister, they'll go to sleep. The older ones can watch the movie. Maggie and Gail did not go to sleep. Well, maybe Gail did, but Maggie did not go to sleep. And the movies that night were Night of the Living Dead, Dracula, Frankenstein, the originals. And I've always credited that night that I never forgot as the reason why I am a filmmaker. It was the only way I could get the terror out of me, is to make movies. So that was an escapade that I lived through with my family. So, as a quizmaster, what was the name of the first movie shown at the drive-in in New Jersey? I've never seen it, and I can't wait to look for it. They can hear the name. So you gotta get the answer loud, clear in the microphone. Don't I? Am I not doing that? You didn't say the answer to them. I did. Oh, sorry. Wives be. I understand. Thank you, Carol. Am I not talking into the microphone? Wives beware. Wives beware. Lynn tells me sometimes I get really loud in the microphone. What year did RCA develop the speakers that came out to attach to the car? $1944. Who has never been to a drive-in theater? David, come back to Lockport. We'll go to the drive-in. It will be very proper. I'll be in the front seat. You'll be in the back. It'd be fine. What was the thing that finally ended many of the drive-in theaters? Sad. I didn't know. So, Zach had a great history. It's a fantastic. Can I hire him as a personal trainer? Can I hire him as a nutritionist? I think I need all those things. But
the most important thing about Zach is how many kids does he have? And how old are they? There you go. That's the most important thing as a grandma. Probably. What is the miniature golf called at the Transit Drive-In? Under the screen. Okay. And this is my last question. In 1942, the movie Bambi came out. And what was the most controversial, what happened in the most controversial scene of the day? I mean, it was history. Yeah, and now it is considered an iconic masterpiece, and people watch it because the mom dies. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. Wonderful questions. It seems like everyone listening very carefully, except me, because of the VPA problem. I have dropped from our meeting for 10 times. If I make any mistakes, please forgive me. Next, I want to ask our R master, Margot. Welcome.
The word of the day, the filler word today was and, in addition to the ahs and ums. But if I only count the ahs and the ums, from the time Carol introduced the meeting until table topics, there were 5. During table topics, there were 3. Between our speakers and evaluators, there were 6. And following that, the other reports that have been given so far, I have heard 5. And that's my report.
Thank you, Margot, for your report. Next, I want to ask our grammarian. Do we have grammarian? Samantha?
Yeah, I don't need this. Good morning again. This is my first time as grammarian, and I am no expert in grammar, so here we go. I did not really hear anything improper or slang that stood out to me. I heard a lot of good words and phrases: impromptu icebreaker, tenacity and relentless drive, most memorable movie, anomaly, ultimate drive-in snack experience, navigate, extemporaneous escapade, superficial elements, passionate about personal growth, inner workings of metabolism, remaining vestiges, art form, venues, genre, the beauty of a drive-in, and a local jewel. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. You haven't catch many grammatic mistakes because I haven't given my report. Okay, thank you. Next, I want to ask our word master, Kate, to give her report. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. After table topics, I heard the word escapade used. I'll go in reverse. Sam, Margot, Marshall, Zach 3 times in an icebreaker. Bravo. He's conferring with the Vice President of Membership. Larry, Maggie twice, and Tracy. Nice work. I hope you all have escapades today, and thank you to those of you who were snapping. I also forgot, but we'll continue doing that. I did see it done in other clubs too. I can't not talk about the drive-in briefly, and I didn't know what I would say, but Maggie reminded me what I should say. The very first movie I saw at the drive-in was Bambi. And I just did a quick Google search, and the re-release was in 1982 when I was 5 years old. And that was shocking, and I will never forget it, but I do still enjoy the movies. And I do still enjoy it. Wasn't anything like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Night of the Living Dead. So there we are. I would love to just share briefly as VP of Education. I appreciate all of you for your flexibility today, especially Carol as our Toastmaster of the day, and also Zach as one of our speakers giving his icebreaker. The meeting I attended Tuesday night, apologies again, I couldn't be at the officer meeting, but the officer meeting Tuesday night sounded like it went very well. At that meeting, hanging above the fireplace, there was a cross stitch that said, "Flexibility is a key to mental health." And I thought, perfect. I took a picture. So thank you all for reminding us of those things, that we can be spontaneous, we can be extemporaneous, we can practice our impromptu skills here, speaking and leadership. And bravo to all of you for that. And I know that Zach has to leave because of work, and we gave him a standing ovation. Bravo again to Zach. Have a wonderful day. Back to Carol. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Now it's my turn.
Sorry, Mr. General Evaluator, we're giving a quick announcement to Zach as
Okay.
best speaker today. Thank you so much. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I apologize, Marshall. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Hey, it's my turn. Okay, go on. Oh,
Okay.
you go first.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Marshall, you can tell us generally evaluate the meeting and the evaluators.
Thank you, thank you. Before the meeting, Kate shared the agenda and on email to remind us to fill the role twice. Thank you. We started the meeting on time. Beth gave us an inspiration. Carl welcomed everyone and told we will have more time on table topics. Introduced the theme and many rules. Table topic master Larry gave us 5 questions, and after every speakers, he gave us comments and a connection. Am I read the wrong name? Thank you. I followed my email agenda because I lost our meeting agenda. Thank you. Our 2 evaluators, Michael and David, gave the very detailed describe of the speakers, gave a lot of brilliant suggestions, and their evaluations connected a lot of content of the speakers, which can attract us. They all followed case principle to praise, criticize, and praise again. My suggestion is to speak some about their pathway project aim if they use it. For our pathway evaluation forms, we have many aspects to evaluate. And their encouragement part, I think it's a little short. We can praise people for longer to encourage them because delivery speech is not easy. Our timer Mary, Ward Master Kate, Master Margot, Grammarian Simmons, Court Master Darcy, etc. You all did a great job. Our club is dynamic. Our team is resourceful. And when our agenda has any empty vacancy, we fill them very quickly. One thing I want to suggest, we can remind our website agendas. I browsed our website. We have put at least 3 or 4 weeks agenda, put many names on them. We should remind everybody we have put their name on website to let them to prepare for first. Thank you. Go back to our Toastmaster of the day, Carol.
Thank you, Marshall. I will announce the other winners. Table topics is Bridget. see. See if we can get one.
All right, ready? Last four. 3, 2, 2, 8. 3, 2. All right. Woo, got a winner, Steve. Steve Smith. Oh, thank you so much.
And also our best evaluator was Mike Licata. There you are. Oh. Yeah, I guess we're ending a little earlier.
Are there any announcements? Anyone have any announcements? Kate has an announcement. Kate?
I would have said it earlier, but we wanted to say goodbye to Zach. I did email to the club last week that tomorrow night, some of us are going to the Lockport Palace to watch 1776, the musical performance. It's at 7:30. Mary is a docent then. Thanks for the tip. And if you have questions about that, please let me know. It looks like I was going to do the lineup for next week. I know I emailed it out to some of you, but we'll make sure that's situated. And I will kick it back, I think, to our Vice President of Membership. I don't think I have anything further, except the conference is next weekend already, May 1st and May 2nd, and some of us are going. So I hope if you do have any questions, let me know and hope to see you there. All right, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. I was informed our Toastmaster of the day next week is Beth Banks. Further information will be coming out, I'm sure, in the next day or two. Keep your eye posted for that. Anyone have anything else? Spring is here. Okay, awesome. Spring is here. And pardon? Oh, next week the theme is spring is here for those on Zoom. Spring is here. So keep your eyes posted for the agenda for next week in full format. And I just wanted to make a note on the membership regarding membership. Chris Kelly and Zach Finney will be receiving an opt-in email for free toast. So keep your eye open for that. If you don't, I'll catch up with you, Chris, before we leave today. And I told Zach the same. Then you can have access to the club website and you can see the agenda, and there are a lot of other things you can do, but mainly the agenda for next week. You can confirm your role and you can see what's going on, but I'll help you with that. Just FYI, if no one has anything further, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you.